Do any of you have a sense of what the status of this is in Native American colleges, how it's dealt with for students and faculty and in the academic setting, how it's taught? Two, is there a difference in the condition in Canada, which we tend to look at as a better version of
We don't got no Canadians. We don't recognize the border.
I actually went to Pasco Indian Junior College in Lawrence, Kansas, and I was drinking and running around and molesting men and getting in trouble. And you know, it's funny. It's like people generally. It was a question of public notice. You know, you can. There was never a problem of homophobia that I felt. There was a problem of looking improper outside of the Native community. And generally, I remember when in 1984, I went to the Indian Health Clinic and I asked for an HIV test because I had known somebody who was sick and they didn't know and I didn't know. And this was before any of the confidentiality laws. And I mean, people were like calling my home reservation about it. It was just crazy. There's no confidentiality in the Native American community. It's very enmeshed. So consequently, it's difficult for us to find out what are the indicators of wellness or illness, because people, if they're really seriously in trouble, will get in the car and drive to Minneapolis, where they can go to a public clinic. And so, you know, there's a whole, you know, a lot of it's just about appearance. You can be who you are, and it's very political. Like if you're in with a tough crowd, nobody's going to bother you. They don't want to fight you. You know, it's like, it can be very primal. And a lot of it is, you know, in Canada they're called bush Indians, but the Indians that are from the very rural setting, you know, for them it's just negotiating how to take a bus or do something that is very mainstream is much more of a drama than any of these other questions about identity or anything. You know, because they're very rural settings. I grew up in a place where we had a gas station, you know, with a vending machine, and that's it. And there's no choice, and there's no. So, but the academia, you know, it's the boarding school system is still around, and generally, it just depends on the group of people that you're around. If it's the more Christianized Bible Belt, they'll have all these kind of objections, but if it's more Sioux style, it's very liberal.
And also, we want to acknowledge that the Columbia University's Native American Council has co-sponsored this event and has also invited us to come to events with them. As well as the NYU Center for Multicultural Programs is here represented tonight. And we also have a speakers bureau, which we're starting through the Northeast Two-Spirit Society, so that anybody in this audience who represents a higher learning institution can contact us, and we'll send somebody to give our presentation, which has basically been, you know, authored by the group, and yeah, so that's also
we got a PowerPoint.
Yeah, we got high tech.
I just want to make a quick comment. We laughed and we joked real quick, like, and for those of you that don't know what the joke was about, when we talk about the borders, we do not have borders. It was the other people that came to this country. I won't say any specific race or anything, but the other people that came to this country that created the borders. Mexicans took over, Mexicans and Spanish took over down below where we're at. My tribe is divided by a border, and the people on the top part of what you guys call America, what we call Turtle Island. There are no borders. This is something that, you know, politics and everybody else created, so I just wanted to kind of let you guys in on the joke and why we were laughing.
Is most of the terms that refer to our cultures have nothing to do with our cultures. Sioux, for instance, what they call us, comes from a French bastardization of a Ojibwe word, which was their word for who we were. So, yeah, I don't want to.
Blackadder.
Yeah. So a lot of the term, which is why when I say Lakota, people a lot of times don't have a clue what I'm talking about, but if I say Sioux, they do. The term Berdache is a bad term. Don't use it. It's that simple. It's one of those things anthropologists didn't understand, and because they didn't understand it, what they did was take it from another culture that they had experience with, i.e. the Arab culture, I guess, and Kevin explained it. I've never really been exactly sure what it was, but they were like little slave boys that, you know, they had sex with. So I think that what happened was the anthropologists and the Christians came along and they were like, what's this about? And they just used this term that they had known. I think that you saw a couple of us maybe when you said you were in anthropology school kind of anthropologists are pretty much a traditional enemy of Indian people, and it's because you get everything wrong. Not necessarily your own faults, though, because I've heard like a lot of stories from my folks, from the older folks, that, you know, the anthropologists, they find Deloria jokes about how every summer vans full of anthropologists descend upon Pine Ridge, you know, to talk to people and record their stories, and they lied. Yeah. You know? they would make stuff up to tell people. So a lot of it comes from that. But of course, that's because, as Melissa pointed out, for hundreds of years we were tortured and literally, you know, you were beaten if you spoke your language. Our ceremonies were outlawed until 1976. So you know, there's a reason for the misunderstanding on both sides. But I think, you know, it's like the term Indian. I mean, well, it's worse, but because there isn't really, we are Lakota or Cherokee or whatever is what we really are. But pan-tribally, or just as you come from indigenous tribes somewhere in your background, it's just a way to identify us.
The first, and I assume only, drag troupe exists out of the Bay Area Two-Spirit Society called the Brush Arbor Girls. And they are, you know, if you get a chance to see the Brush Arbor Girls, they're just like amazing. And I don't really know how to answer your question without just giving you an example of what the Two-Spirit Society in Bay Area. They're definitely an integral part of their fundraising and an integral part of their leadership as well. The chair is a trans person. I don't know. I don't think that they're transsexual or on their way to becoming a woman, but I know that at least with you know, doing drag and bringing in transvestite, that's something that they put out there as being more. People see more of the Brush Arbor Girls than they see of the Bay Area Two-Spirit Society because they're so out there and visible.